Hey, welcome back to another video with Atomic Token Games. I'm Wade Wagner.
And I'm Jake Steppen.
And we're going to do a review of Merchants of the Dark Road. Okay guys, before we get started, we want to make sure to let you know about all the stuff in our description. Check out our Patreon. If you donate to the Patreon, you get exclusive access to a Discord. We'll give you discount on merch, and we'll have a bunch of other updates and things going on our Patreon, so make sure to check that out. We've also got all our social media.
Yep, don't forget, hit like and subscribe if you haven't yet. We do board game content every week, so be sure to be part of that. Join our community.
Drop it on Wednesday. We've got an Amazon link in the description. If you use that to buy stuff on Amazon, that helps us out.
So, real quick, guys, an overview of the game. So, in Merchants of the Dark Road, you play as a merchant who has to travel and carry his wares through the forest during winter time. So, it's dark, it's depressing, and it's very hard to do. So, part of your gameplay each round, you'll take your little wagon, you'll move to a different spot in town, which has corresponding actions that you can take. Once you've arrived at that spot, you can choose which action to take. Some of the actions include recruiting heroes to take with you and deliver them to certain cities to earn points. You can buy goods at the store. They have a bunch of different items you can buy that are... there are commissions from the Queen, so you can get these little missions, again, to travel out to different towns and deliver the missions. Of course, you have your traveling section where you're able to travel. You gain a companion. You can choose whether to travel on the dark road or to take a shortcut. And then there's the dark market, which is the last action where you can spend money to get more items. So between those 5 different actions, you also have a player board, a wagon that you have full of dice. These cool blue dice that you roll. These will determine how far you can move, as well as what type of items you can craft, as well as it has a storage for all of your equipment, all of your different items. So each round you will choose one of your dice to activate, and that will determine how many spaces you can move in town, which will in turn determine what actions you can take. Now the goal of this, as you're taking these actions, you can earn prestige points and collect coins. The scoring at the end of the game, you take the lower of those two things, so either your coins or your prestige point. That's your base value, and then you add any victory points you collect from your secret missions or other things that you've done.
Okay guys, our first category is table space and setup. Oh boy, where do we start with this one?
This game's kind of a beast, so I don't know if you can see it right now. We've got the whole game set up. It's got a pretty big footprint, so it is quite a big game. There's a lot of different components, and it takes a long time to set up.
For some reason, yeah, with this game over other games, getting this game from the box to the table, holy cow, is a pain.
Yeah. Yeah. The rule book has a whole, there's like 30 steps or something to set up the game. And most of it's pretty intuitive, like, oh, just put the item dice on the item square, right? But there are some things that are like very specific that your first few playthroughs, you got to be checking the setup a whole bunch of times of, okay, I got to put 5 coins here and 3 coins there and do this and do that.
Yeah, coins need to go on this part of the board. You need to get your player space set up, roll the dice on the market. How many decks are there to manage?
1, 2,
Shortcut
3,
deck, 1, 2, 3, 4,
5, 6.
5 decks.
There's a lot of stuff.
And then separating out all of these commissions and setting those up. It's got a big footprint. So what do we give this?
I give it a 5. The 5 out of 5. This game definitely has a big setup and a big table space.
Yeah, that's a 5 for me too. I agree. Okay, so our next category is replayability. What do you think?
So we played this game a few times. I've played it 5 or 6 times. And it has pretty good replayability. It's definitely got enough things going on that you never quite feel bored. Like you never are like, man, I've already done this 30 times. I know exactly what to do. But at the same time, there's not quite the level of variability the other games have. So there is a sense, every game, the way to win is the same. The win condition is get the most prestige points and coins, because the lower of that value is your base victory points.
So you feel like you end up doing the same actions, and maybe that's just the way our play style. You do have a lot of options to get those different coins, but like, I mean, the only way to get coins is by selling stuff to the heroes, right? And the best way to get prestige is to travel and deliver those heroes and commissions, right? And so it's like, you kind of end up like, the rest of the locations are like, what, different ways to get items, basically. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so it ends up, yeah, like we've played it a couple times, and I don't think we'd say that we've mastered it, but it feels like you end up starting to do the same things.
Yeah. For me, I think I'd give this a 3 out of 5 on replayability. It's pretty average. Like, for sure, it's super fun to play a couple times. It's not one that I see myself, always wanting to pull out over and over and over, because of that fact that it does end up being slightly the same when you're trying to win. Yeah,
I'll give it a 3 as well, because it's kind of just that average. Like, it's fun to play because I enjoy the mechanics and the setting, but I don't enjoy playing it for the replayability. Basically, yeah. Okay, guys, our next category is complexity. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, like we mentioned in the setup, there's a lot of stuff here. So the complexity is there. There's a lot of things to do. One of the things, though, that I've realized is that on your turn, it's not actually too bad. The 5 actions themselves are actually pretty simple. The complexity comes in more from trying to figure out what order to do things, and we have this lovely, the rulebook has a hieroglyphics page.
A Rosetta Stone, if you will.
Yeah. There's a lot of symbols, so there's not a lot of words in this game, so a lot of it is trying to figure out the symbols, which again, it's mostly front-loaded. Your first time or two playing, you're trying to figure out all the symbols. Once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad at all.
Yeah, the symbology, it's not complex because they don't even put words on the board. It's all symbols. Mm-hmm. So once you learn what the symbols mean, there's that steep learning curve, but then it's not, the actions are super quick to take. So not super complex. So what are we giving this?
I'm giving this a 3 out of 5. It's pretty average. It's, average complexity. There is a lot of stuff up front, and there is a lot of choices and a lot of things, but it's not too bad. Not the hardest thing ever.
Yeah, I agree. 3 out of 5. Okay, our next category is strategy. So this is going to be a little bit different for this one. I think this is probably where most of this game shines, I guess.
Yeah. You spend most of your turn trying to figure out which dice you're going to use to get a certain action, to move your wagon, to get a different action, to figure out, okay, in 3 turns I have to be doing this. Mm-hmm. So there is a lot of strategy. You're pretty much just trying to plan, 4 turns in advance, figure out what the heck you got to do.
Mm-hmm. My turns, the actions themselves are simple, but deciding which action to do is ridiculous. Like, you have to move, you pick one of 3 actions on your board, right? And then that determines not only the action you do, but how many spaces you move, which determines then what action you can do on the board. And so there's just so much. I end up just like, I'm going to say analysis paralysis a lot because I fall victim to that all the time.
Yeah. That being said, though, once you get playing, you do kind of get into a groove. Like, you do start to figure out, okay, I need to do these things. I need to get my commissions, get some coins. This is the, my favorite way, or maybe the best way to do it. So you do start to get into kind of a groove there. As you're playing, you start to figure out, okay, this is the easiest thing for me to do. This is the thing I like the most, which does help with the level of strategy. You start to kind of figure out your favorite play style as you go.
Which is I think it's valid that there are a couple different play styles, and at the end of the day, you kind of are beholden to your dice, and so that limits like your options, and so you don't have full control of your strategy, which is kind of nice, because if you had full control of that, I think I would never take a turn ever.
Yeah. So overall, I'm going to give strategy, for me, a 3 out of 5. I think there's definitely a lot of strategy here, and there's a lot of choices you can make, a lot of things like that.
Yeah, I like that average score. It is not Uno, right, where you have the optimum play, but it's not a huge level of strategy. You just figure out what actions you're going to take and what commissions you're going to deliver, and it kind of sends you on a path. So, yeah. Okay, next category is art style and theme. What do we think about that?
Okay, so the art in this game is really cool. I think the theme is awesome. They have really cool, you have these little creatures that go with you. The board is really stylized and artistic. And I love the idea that you are merchants struggling to figure out what to do in the winter time. The board is really dark, everything's really thematic and not creepy, but it's got a sense of like foreboding
Yeah.
that you're struggling. You gotta make money somehow by traveling on the dark road and selling your stuff.
Yeah, it's cool. Like feeling like you're in like a merchant in a fantasy setting. You have the taverns and the inns, and you're loading your wagon. You've got your animal companions, and your what the freak is this called?
A steed.
Steed. Your steed that's pulling your wagon, and you only have so much space for all the heroes and people you can take with you, which is really cool. Yeah, the theme is great, very consistent, and the art style is better than normal. It's a great art style. It's not like doesn't blow me out of the water, but it's really consistent and cool.
Yeah. So for me, I'm going to give art style and theme a 4 out of 5. I think it's got great art, great theme, and it really works with kind of your choices you're making as you play.
Yep, I agree. It's above average, very thematic, and everything you do feels like something you would do as a merchant in this setting. Drum roll, component quality. I think they just get me right off the bat, hook, line, and sinker with these dice, dude.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh.
There's like 5 different types of dice,
Yeah.
and they're all unique and stylized and stuff. My favorite part that this game has is the magnetic part here for your item selection and the cost. So it's a piece that just sticks right on the board. It's got a magnet, and you can spin it. It doesn't fall off. I think it's awesome. Now this version that we have is just the normal retail version. There is a deluxe Kickstarter version that has a bunch of even better upgraded pieces, but for just being a normal retail game, I think it has amazing component quality.
Yeah, the unique dice is really cool. I feel like sometimes you can go cheap on dice like this, but they really paid attention to detail with the swirls in here and making it just not look like regular dice. It adds to the theme, really, I feel like. The cardboard is great. It doesn't feel flimsy, and yeah, I think the components are awesome, and the dice are amazing.
Yeah. One thing I think is pretty cool that not a lot of games do is instead of having a board that folds out, they have it puzzle pieced together to reduce any fold lines and bumps, which I think is awesome.
Makes it feel a lot better. Yeah,
yeah, it's I don't have any idea how much how expensive that is, but
yeah, these money tokens I was just realizing feel like thicker and a little more sturdy than most like cardboard.
Yeah. And they each have a unique design, each type of money and stuff. Anyways, and for me, I give the component quality a 5 out of 5. I think this game is awesome. It's really where it shines to me. This game is kind of the theme and the quality of everything and just all of that.
Yeah, I think like you said, the game shines with its theme and its components. I think that's why this is alluring for a lot of people. So I'm going to give this a 4.5 out of 5. It's not perfect to me, but I do love the dice and everything is really good. All right, final score time. Jake, what do we think?
Okay, so for me, I'm going to give this game a 7 out of 10. I think it's really fun. The art and the theme and everything is incredible. It's super fun, super thematic. And for me, the only reason it's not a higher score, like an 8, 9, or 10, is just the replayability. For me, a perfect game has really high replayability. It's one that every time you play, you can try a different strategy or you can play a little differently. And this game, for me, the only place it really falls short is just that idea that every time you play, you kind of start getting in a groove, playing the same way, and so it loses some of that replayability.
Yeah, it kind of just has like that puzzle aspect of like what items do I need to get and how am I going to maximize my golden prestige in one of the 2 ways that you can do that. But I think I agree with Jake. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Yeah, again, for that reason, it's above average because if you gave me a stack of games and one of those was merchants and we're going to play merchants, I'd be like, okay, cool, that sounds great. But I would know that we're going to do the thing that merchants does, right? Nothing too crazy. But the components are great, and I just love being in this setting, I think. And so there's something about the box art. From the moment you open the box and you look at the pieces, you're just like feel immersed in it. It feels really cool. So 7 out of 10.
Yep. All right, and that's it for Merchants of the Dark Road, guys. Hopefully that helps you figure out, should you buy it, should you play it? I really enjoy this game. I think it's definitely one that's worth having on your shelf. So don't forget, as you're leaving, if you haven't yet, hit that like button. Leave a subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. And comment down below, what games should we do next? We have a whole bunch. We just went to our board game convention, so we have a whole bunch more games. A lot of the hot new ones that we can do. If you check out our social media, check out our social media, see what we're up to and what games we're looking at and stuff. And be sure if you have something you really want us to do, let us know.
Yeah, comment down below whether you agree with our rating, whether you something you think we missed. I'm sure we did. But yeah, thanks for watching.